Alright, let's talk a little bit about Robot C. On your desktop, you're going to find two Robot C icons. One says Graphical Robot C, and one is Robot C for VEX, and that's 4.0. That's the icon that you're going to need to hit. Don't go into that one, it's not going to get you very far. So once you launch Robot C 4.0, it's going to come up and gives you a lot of different options at this point. Robot C has a lot. It's C++, but you can use it in a lot of different ways. So we're using it through Project Lead the Way. So we need to set up our computer and then download that into our Cortex once it's set up. So we'll need to go to New File. With New File, there's some formatting that you're going to need to do. So up at the top, you'll see a tab that says Robot, and you'll click on that. We have different platform types. Yours is probably set to VEX IQ maybe. You want to make sure that your VEX 2.0 Cortex. So you're going to click on that. Then we're going to go back into Robot, and we're going to go back to platform type. And it should give you a drop-down option of Natural Language PLTW, and that's for Project Lead the Way. If this one's not clicked, then your Cortex is not going to talk to your computer and it's not going to work. So before we get started, up here at the top, this is where we're going to write our program. You'll see task main, the two parentheses, and then these two curly brackets. All of your program has to land between the two curly brackets. But above that, it tells you what the robot knows that it gets to use. Right now, there's nothing at the top of that. So if you wrote program all day long, your computer and your robot are not going to talk to each other because the robot's not seeing any buttons, any motors. So we have to go to this tab that says Motor and Sensor Setup. From there you can see we've got tabs up here: motor, analog, and digital. So if we'll go to motor, we're not going to put anything in port 1 because on our Cortex that is a 2-prong port and we don't have those motors. So port 2 should be write motor. So we're going to type write motor. In computer language, it really doesn't see spaces, so your words can be together, no space, but each word needs to be capitalized. So write for the R for write and M for motor. So port 3, we should have plugged in left motor. We're going to drop down and we're going to pick the type of motors that we're going to use. These are the older VEX 269 motors, and none of this needs to be changed. So now we're going to go to our analog sensors. Our analog is different than digital. Digital is kind of like off and on. It is or it's not. Analog gives you a range. So the only thing that we're going to be using with a range is the potentiometer. So I like to find it because it's going to be plugged into the 2 in the second port. I like to find it over here because on this, if you don't spell it right, then the computer doesn't recognize it. Then let's go to digital. And we've got a couple of digital things that we need to add. The first one is our limit switch. And the second one is the bump switch. Notice both words are capitalized but no space in between. Now these are both touch sensors. Now we're going to go ahead and add your green LED. Down the road you're going to add a light to that. And it's the Vex LED. So we might as well add it in there now while we're doing it. So once we've got our motors, our analog sensors, and our digital sensors, we're going to click Apply. And OK. Now up here at the top you can see where all of those sensors and motors. So now anything that you write here has to correspond with what's up here. This is the sensors and things that you're going to need for your test bed. Once you get to your drag car or any of your other programs, this will change. So you'll just have to go to motor sensor setup and put in what you have. Anything that is in this blue or red, that's good. If you are typing along and the word is black, it's in black, the computer does not recognize that. Anything that we have that is in green, that's for us if we wanted to explain the code. The computer does not see that. Now when we go to program, we'll come over to, let's see what, oh, I unclicked it. There we go. Make sure you've got natural language over here. When I didn't have that, I knew earlier when I was setting it up I must have unclicked it. So we'll open up natural language. So if you can remember, drag, drop, and change. So when you go to movement, let's say we wanted to turn our left motor on for 3 seconds at half speed. So we'll go to movement. We want to start motor, and we're just going to drag and drop that over here. If you notice, this is kind of in blue. Good. Black. Nope. Black. That means we've got to change that. So we said left motor. We go up here, we find our left motor is in port 3. So we're going to change that to port 3. And we said half speed. Now for some strange reason, top speed is 127. So we're going to round that to 120 and work everything from 120. So if I want half speed, I'm going to change that to 60. Now if you notice, we've got parentheses around our port and our speed. We've got a comma between the port and the speed. And we've got a semicolon at the end of each line of code. So if we just do start motor, we need to tell it to only run for 3 seconds. So over here on the left, you're going to see wait. If you open that up, where you drag and drop, drag, drop, and change. We'll have to change wait time. It's black, we'll have to change that to how many seconds we want to wait. So we're going to say 3. Now notice, it already set up for you. It's got the parentheses, it's got the semicolon at the end. And so now we need to stop the motor. So we have start motor, we've told it to run half speed for 3 seconds, and now we need to stop motor. Again, drag, drop, and change. This we're going to change to stop motor. That's port 3. And make sure, again, all of your code is in between the open and close curly brackets. So to check it, you'll go up here to compile and click compile program. It makes you save it, which is super cool. So everything looked nice. Now, what if I needed to make some changes and I accidentally erased that last curly bracket? When I click compile program, it kind of fusses at me. There says something is not right. So it shows you it has an open curly bracket, but the closed curly bracket isn't there. So down here it says unmatched left brace. So it kind of tells you what your problem is. And you're like, oh snap, I forgot. And I accidentally erased my curly bracket. So if you compile the program, it goes away. What if you are getting really good and you forget to, and you're just typing this stuff in, not drag and dropping and changing it? See the yellow, when I took away those semicolons at the end, it said down here at the bottom, missing semicolon. Now yellow means it may run, but it may not run. So if you get any kind of yellow, red means it's not working. It's not having it. So if we go back, whoop, that was lovely. Compile the program, it's done. Now sometimes you get to where it won't add these lines for code, and if that's the case, you push the insert button on your keyboard, just like you can type over insert on your keyboard. That's kind of a basic. So at this point, if you have set up your Cortex, there is a test bed build instructions in the Vex white notebook. Make sure that you have plugged things in exactly as they are on this diagram. Make sure you put as you're plugging those in, that they're plugged in straight. If they're at an angle, then they're not going to go in easy. These just slide in very, very easy. If you have to force it, or if it's at an angle, it'll break those little prongs off. So don't do that. Take it easy with these. So once you have your Cortex plugged in correctly, and once you have done your motor and sensor setup, you've kind of watched this program, then I'm going to let you do that one on your own. Now once you begin to do the tasks, every task needs to be copied and pasted into a Word document. So I would go here and just copy this, and then you can go to your Word document. This one doesn't have a shortcut on it. So on your Word document, you would of course put your name. If you are in a Monday, Wednesday class, or a Tuesday, Thursday class, and you can say task 1, and then paste that in there. So task 2, you'll paste that in whenever you get it. If you wanted to add a couple columns, you can probably do that. And that way more will go on the page. But this, after you have it all copied and pasted in there, this is going to be emailed to me at the end. So even if the test bed is plugged into somebody else's computer on your team, everybody is still programming. Everybody is still typing, drag, drop, and changing for these programs. You need this as a reference, so when you start your more elaborate builds that you guys are going to do, you'll know how to use the bump switch. You'll have figured out how to do a loop. You will have figured out how to make 2 or 3 things go at one time. This is going to be your reference guide. Everybody has to copy and paste and turn this into me. So you just save this. Thing is, this computer that you're setting at is the computer that you will need to come back to every time. Because when you save it, it saves to that documents on that computer, and you won't be able to reach it from anywhere else. Hope this is going well, and if you have any questions, you can rewatch this video if I'm not here. All right, good luck, guys.